Hello, my name is Jelana Haley, and today I will be presenting my journal article review. So the title of the article is Time-Varying Exposure to Air Pollution and the Outcomes of In Vitro Fertilization Among Couples from a Fertility Clinic. So the research problem is if air pollution is a risk factor for those couples who are trying to reproduce or have children but are undergoing in vitro fertilization. So previous research has been done, but it was mostly done on spontaneous conceiving couples, meaning they didn't need any help of in vitro fertilization. So with IVF, it's more of a controlled environment, more of a controlled observation because of all the medical intervention that couples have to go through in order to get through the process of the in vitro. And then the other question they try to answer, are there any points in the in vitro process where susceptibility is especially increased? So couples' risk of not having a successful pregnancy increase. The research's objective of this study was to determine if there was a link between air pollution and IVF results. As we talked about before, IVF cycles are on a schedule, so researchers can more easily figure out if pollution exposure is resulting in specific outcomes. So in this research, they wanted to focus on a specific residential address, whereas in previous research, they more so focused on a broad region or a specific zip code. They also wanted to attempt to account for other lifestyle factors such as tobacco smoking, socioeconomic status, income, education level, things of that nature, those types of variables. So the researchers were specific in the population that they needed for this study. The women in the study were between 18 and 46 years old at the time of enrolling in their IVF treatment. They were at the hospital in Boston, Massachusetts. For the conversation for this study, the woman did have to provide their address, and that helped the researchers in their study. They also had to exclude people from the study. They were only interested in fresh IVF cycles, so those who were not, such as the donor recipient and the cyclo-preservation fall cycle, were excluded in this study. Also excluded were women who resided outside of the range of the study model. It states that they didn't want to study in this case. The women were followed throughout the study until the point of failure, and the study defined a point of failure as the onset of a woman's menstrual cycle or a failed pregnancy test. The methods they used for the study were pretty complex. They needed to measure nitrogen dioxide, ozone, black carbon, and particulate matter levels at the home addresses that the women provided. Then they analyzed and evaluated this at 5 different critical time windows of exposure during IVF. So then these levels were estimated using, like I said, sophisticated software. For example, for the nitrogen dioxide, they use a spatial temporal model, and this uses satellite remote sensing in combination with Lenz regression. Alright, so the 4 different periods that the IVF process examined was 1, during ovarian stimulation, 2, off-site retrieval to embryo transfer, 3, embryo transfer to implantation, and 4, implantation to live birth. So these were used to identify if there were different vulnerable periods for successful IVF treatment. So then the viable embryos that they did retrieve were scored on a Likert scale, 1 being the best and 5 being the worst. Then they used statistical analysis, specifically descriptive statistics, calculate based on the first IVF cycle. During the study, They also compared it across air pollutant exposure in 3 months prior to starting the IVF and IVF failure point. And analyzing specific periods of the IVF process for more successful to air pollution. Researchers also compared time periods of pollution exposure by, again, using statistical analysis. I thought this chart was very helpful in seeing the different variables that I discussed earlier in the PowerPoint, and then at the different periods in the IVF process, IVF cycle, and then the p-value noted if there was any significant in the statistical analysis. So what the researchers found in the study, the results of the study, of the 522 initiated fresh cycles, 94% had off-site retrieval, 89% had at least one embryo transfer, 53% had a positive BHCG type, and that's a test that detects hormones in women's blood when they're pregnant, and 38% resulted in an actual live birth. So on average, air pollution exposure was low amongst these women, but there were variations depending on where the participants lived. They lived next to any major roadways, and also their income, their median income, factored into whether or not they had successful IVF results. So the study basically showed that there was less success with pollution exposure in the early part of treatment, whereas in the later part of the treatment, the chances of the air pollution impacting the IVF process weakened. So, with that said, the study suggests that women undergoing IVF are especially vulnerable to air pollutants in the early stage of the treatment. We also found that traffic-related pollutants were especially detrimental when it came to the success of the IVF treatment. The study also concurred or agreed with the results from 5 previous studies. These studies were in different continents. And the takeaway from this is, those couples undergoing IVF treatment should definitely be more aware of air pollution in their area, residential area, especially at the beginning of the fertility treatment. This is the reference. Thank you for your time.